Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV, and I've got a really amazing find to show you here today, and I'll give a shout out now to Dark Gar, who gave me the tip off on this. I've marked it on the map. It's just on this part of Antarctica, which is round the side towards New Zealand and Australia. This is New Zealand up here and Australia over here, okay? And it's just here on this bit that sticks up. So I'm going to click on that now and take you to it. So to show you it in its raw form. There we are. Now, what I've done is I've marked the coordinates here. I'll put coordinates in the description below, so you can just copy and paste them and put them into the little search bar at the top here on Google Earth, and you will find it straight away. So it's easy to find. But incidentally, well, let's look at it first. I'll show you some more details about it in a minute. Let's go in a bit closer. There we are. This is absolutely incredible, and it's very large. This is about 1 kilometre from the chin to the top of the head here. Now it looks very pointed here, but the shadows are making it more pointed. I would imagine this head actually is more rounded at the top, but there's a heavy shadow coming across here and obscuring part of it. You've got, let's go in close, you've got very interesting and amazing mouth detail here with a small chin. You've got a nose here with a nostril here. You've got an eyebrow here and another one here. And what I've done, I've taken some clips of this and I've put it in my graphics processor. This is a raw clip that I just showed you. Nothing done to this. I'm just going to enlarge that a bit. I've done a brightened version, which I'll show you in a second. Here we are, hang on. Let's go in a bit closer. There's some astonishing detail here. And you've even got a very interesting mouth structure here and chin. You can actually see into the mouth. There's a nostril here. And when you brighten it up, you can see where there's another nostril here as well. You've got an eyebrow here, and there is actually an eye just below this, I think. And when you brighten it up, you can see it. Obviously, this is buried in very thick snow and ice. And a bit like some of the structures that I've shown on Mars, this snow is not solid, much like sand. And if you brighten up the image and enhance the contrast, you can actually see through the surface to the details and shadows and shapes below. Okay, so what I've done a brightened version here, which I've carefully brightened up. If it would let me zoom out, right, there we go. Here we are. Now I brightened this up by about 20%, so this isn't massively brighter. But what I did, I darkened these bright parts here just to make it easier to look at, because this gets a bit glary when you brighten it up, obviously, because the sun's reflecting on this. Okay, and here we have it. Now let me zoom in. Now if you look carefully and slowly at it, there's an eye here below. This is an eyebrow, and there's another eyebrow here which is more obscured by the snow and ice. And you can actually see, let's go in close, when you brighten it up, you can actually see this nostril quite clearly. It's there, and there's a shadow here which says to me that there's another one which is covered up. You've got some interesting mouth detail here with a lower lip. Very interesting indeed. And there's even a crease here at the side of the mouth and here. Very interesting indeed. This is awesome, and an absolutely amazing find, I would say. And it looks very similar to some of the giant statues and structures that I've seen on Mars, and looks kind of similar almost to the Hanuman statue that I found on Mars recently. Hanuman being the monkey god from the Hindu religion. Okay, so take a good look at this. Let's go back to Google Earth and have another look. It's a bit dark, so it helps if you take a screenshot like I did and then lighten the image up, brighten it by about 20%, perhaps a bit more, perhaps 30%. But it will get very glary here because you've got this very bright reflection on these mountain ridges here. Now, let me show you the ruler to give you a scale. Let's have it in meters. Let's start from the chin and go to the top here. It's approximately 1 kilometre. I mean, it depends where you measure it from. I mean, the head, if this is what I think it is, the head could be right up to here, but the top part is obscured. So I'll say it's approximately 1 kilometre, about 1,000 metres across. But if you measure just the width from here to here, it's 600 metres across. So these are a very interesting measurements. Yeah, that's 600 metres. I mean, it depends on how accurately you do it. It may be just over. So there we are. And incidentally, if I show you the grid on the view here, this is cool. Now this says to me, when you look at the grid, if you press the grid, go to the view up here and then go to grid. One of the lines goes right down the middle of the nose here and divides it into two. What are the chances of that, I ask you? Now, this reminded me of something I found in Antarctica years ago, back in 2013, in fact. I'll show you that very quickly. And in fact, it generated a lot of interest on YouTube, because this structure here is perfectly square, kind of base structure. It's exactly 2 kilometres square, and you have an equilateral triangular structure here, which looks like part of a pyramid or some other similar kind of structure, which is about 1 kilometre across. I think it's 1 kilometre across there at the bottom, with 3 equal sides, a black triangle. So this is a structure within a larger base kind of complex, and there's lots of other structures around it as well. What you have to do with images from places like Antarctica and Mars, when you're looking from above, look at satellite images, is increase the contrast and play with the brightness, and things will start to pop out like they have done here. Now, this actually caused quite a stink at the time, and since I found this, other people have been finding some crazy stuff in Antarctica as well, and lots of important people have been sent down there in recent years to have a look at some of this stuff, but a lot of it's being kept secret, and there are many rumours of underground, massive underground structures and pyramids and cities and everything, which are now being investigated but are not being shown to us. These have been shown in ground penetrating radar images, that grid-like structures under the surface of the ice and snow. So there's a lot going on in Antarctica which we're not being told about. So I'm not going to show you all those images now, because I'm not privy to a lot of them. Let me zoom out of that and show you the actual area. Absolutely insane detail here, really good detail. This is obviously a recent satellite image, and it's very clear. So I would say this is one of the best finds in recent years, anywhere, including Mars. This is absolutely astonishing. And this isn't pointing north. Let's point it north. This is the actual orientation of it. It actually points east-west. So you've got this line going right through the centre of it here, which says it's aligned with east-west on the grid, which says to me that it probably is an artificial structure and not just some random melted ice and rocks that just happen to look like a face, a giant face. So there we are. So coordinates will be in the description below, so you can check this out yourself. This is not made up. This is real. It's down to interpretation whether you want to interpret that as an actual face. But look at the detail. Look at the nose. Look at the mouth. Look at the chin. Look at the eyebrow here, and there's a slightly more hidden one here. And there is an eye. There seems to be an eye below that, hidden by this ice. All you have to do is brighten this up by about 30%, and then add a bit of contrast and play around carefully with the contrast, and you will start to see this shadow appear here, where there is another bit of detail that we can't see in the raw image. Okay, so try that. This is not made up. This is very interesting indeed. It's very, very large, and maybe something to do with the pre-Adamite civilization, or the Atlantis civilization, whatever you want to call them, that lived in Antarctica before the last ice age. Okay? Thanks for watching, everybody. Clips coming up now.